Hi everybody, this is Rhys Barber from Audiology Associates. Thank you very much for watching our earwax removal compilation video today. What you'll see with this first patient in the compilation is they have a very blocked up ear canal. Just on one side, we've got the wax just migrating out but stopping at the entrance to the canal. I'll explain why that's happened in this particular patient in a second. But what you can see here is we've got the standard size ulnar tube in there, which is getting a good grip on this front section. As we wiggle this up and down, it's quite a dry, flat plate of wax. It's actually pulling away from the side of this block. And you can see there we are, there's much lighter material. Let's put a little bit of dry skin at the back end of that as well. Now what you'll see as we look in here, can you see all these little white hairs which are just sort of coming across the canal like this? Now they are little tiny, very, very fine hairs that sit just at the entrance of the canal. And their job is to stop any dust and dirt and debris, larger particles really, from getting down inside the ear canal. But in this case what's happened is they've grown so dense and so long that they've actually crossed over one another. So they're coming in from all sides and they cross over like this. So what's happened then is it's formed this little net which is just stopping the wax from migrating out of the canal as effectively as it normally would. So the wax tries to get past it and hits this little net and then stops. And when it gets to that section, it then dries and starts to harden and thicken up a little bit. So what you can see here is we've got the standard size ulnar tube on here. I'm just probing the surface of this wax, but it's not really budging. So we're going to use the Jobson horn here just to break this down a little bit. Now, as you'll notice here, when we push the Jobson horn through, that front section is quite thick and dense there. But when we pull through, the central section is much softer material. So what's happened with the Jobson horns, it's pulled a groove straight down through the middle of the wax. And we're going to do the same thing here now. As we go in, we're looking to try and get into that darker material you can see at the bottom there, which tends to be the thicker, slightly harder material, which sometimes allows us to get a good grip to pull this out. But as you can see here, it's just taken another chunk off the front there. So we've created this sort of groove in the center there. So what I'm going to do now is to tidy this up a little bit. We're going to use the standard size ulnar tube and we're going to start folding the edges that are all around the outside there just back into the center. Because these edges do tend to be a little bit harder, they tend to dry against the canal wall. Sometimes if you fold them all over one another and then go for the grip with the suction tube, it'll draw it out for you. So you can see me just bending all of this into place. Lots of hairs embedded into this as well. So I think the gentleman has been trying to trim some of these hairs down. You can see lots of little white hairs embedded in there. Unfortunately, when you do that, some of those hairs do find their way inside the ear canal. And then if you've got this sort of drier, thicker wax, they embed into it and that binds everything together. So it makes it really, really difficult to sort of tease this apart, unfortunately. Don't forget guys, if you are enjoying the videos, we post new earwax removal videos every Monday, Wednesday, Friday at 9 PM UK time. So if you are enjoying the video, give us a thumbs up and follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and you can subscribe to us on YouTube as well. So you can just see it all working off this bottom canal wall here. Got a good grip on some of the drier pieces of wax there. Just trying to wiggle this up and down. So very similar to the first piece we took away there that was running down the side. Unfortunately, what's happened now is we've got to this more clay type wax where using suction, it just kind of bends the wax rather than kind of breaks pieces off. It kind of folds it back and forth, which makes it a little bit more difficult to remove. We're going to just try and wiggle this front section. It's not really giving. So what we're going to do now, we can go back to the Jobson horn now. And we're going to sneak over that little gap we've created at the top there just to try and get behind. We're going to try and work this into the back end of the wax if we can. But as we pull this forwards, what you'll see is if you just look just slightly above, you can see the wax goes in that little bit further. So we couldn't get behind it. So what we've actually done is taken the top layer of wax off here, which has just brought it forward slightly. But we're going to do the same technique again, try and get above that darker material, which tends to be harder, and draw this down the canal. Not putting too much pressure because you don't want the Jobson horn to sink through the wax and start scraping against the base of the canal wall there, which will be really uncomfortable for the patient. But you can see it's just drawing this larger, thicker, darker material out with it. There we go. If we take a look behind that again now, you can see it's bringing it forward the whole time. So we're only going in about the same depth. What we did there was just made a sweeping motion down the right side of the canal, right side of the wax against the canal wall. So it meant that we didn't scrape against it. We just kind of loosened this up a little bit. But you can see as you look further in, you can see there's more wax drawing down. So this was quite a long piece of wax in the canal here. There we are. You can see that lighter material on the front, much darker, thicker material there at the back. Nice, good sized plug there. Little bits of hairs you can see just come out with that wax as well. So there's the eardrum. You can see this little sort of line of oil against the top portion of the eardrum there. So the back end of that wax was just pressing against it. So I managed to tidy up a little bit there. No light reflex, so the eardrum is not quite sitting in its normal position. This is what we removed. So you can see we've got this very dark material to the left-hand side. That was the last piece removed. When you compare that to the first piece, which is around about the 3/8 of an inch mark there, so just over the 3 centimeter mark, very different colors. Newer wax, that much lighter material, and then you've got this much darker, harder, thicker, older wax then, because it oxidizes with air, so you get this very dark color. So this lovely gent's come through. This is the second patient now. Very blocked up on one side and a little bit irritated with the wax on the other side. So you can see we've got a good block of wax here. We're just lifting it, unsticking it from the base of the canal wall. See that smooth underside, a little bit of dry skin, which is that gray material. Watch what happens when we get a suction grip. See all that skin material peel off the underside then. So we've got this now to the outer part of the ear canal. Sorry, I keep forgetting to take a breath. There we are. So we've got this to the outer part of the ear canal, and it's got wedged. So it's really just not moving particularly well. Now, sometimes if you give it a bit of a wiggle, which is what we're doing here, you can kind of maneuver it and just gently tease it out of the canal, but it's not in this case. So Jobson Horne saves the day. So it's going to go in now, pop over the top of this block of wax. As we draw it forwards, we're going to put downward and forward pressure on this to roll it out of the canal. There we go. You can see it rolling out there. Very soft central section of this wax. We can push the Jobson Horne into it so we can lift this up so you can take a look. You can see quite a round piece of wax. You can see how this would have been causing a few issues in this for this gentleman's hearing. Good light reflex to the eardrum there. A few little straggly hairs in there. They'll come out with the next bath or shower because they've been pushed against the canal wall with that block of wax. Now you can see there's a gap in this wax this time, so the sound can get through, but it's quite free moving wax, so it's been irritating this gentleman. So with jaw movement, the outer part of the ear canal, the outer third flexes a little bit like this, and when you've got a loose piece of wax like that, it can feel like there's something moving in there, which was this patient's issue, which is why we removed the wax there. Taking away the outer section, a little bit of dry skin just getting suctioned in there. You can see another little bit of wax just to the left hand side as we go into the canal, so we'll get rid of that. There we go, and we've got a good look at the eardrum. Nice looking eardrum there, all looking really healthy. So what you can see here, we've got this very dark round section. That's what came out of the first ear, and then we've got these sort of straggly looser bits that came out of the second ear there. There we are. Well, I hope you enjoyed that video today, guys. If you did, then please don't forget to subscribe. You can follow us on Instagram TV, and you can like our Facebook page as well. As always, guys, take care of yourselves and one another. I shall see you again on Friday. So have a good couple of days.